Well, good Friday evening, everybody. Tuffy Owens here at the Morgan Grand National with Glenn T. Werry, driver of the World Champion Open Park Harness Horse, dressed up GCH. Glenn, great drive tonight, going in there against the horse trainers. The class before you, Allison Wanke, had just set the tone there, winning with What's Up in the open class, but back in there against the trainers. What were you kind of thinking going down the chute tonight?
He's such a honest horse, and Bob has him perfect. All I have to do is sit there and hold on, and he does the rest. We knew we were in great working order. Just things providentially had to fall into place, and they did, and we were the unanimous world grand champions.
That's not terrible. So we win the amateur park harness the other night, and we decide, hey, we're going to come back in the open. How did that kind of decision-making process go? I know you've got your ownership group over here, your sister Sarah Werry Presley, your mother Beth Kohler, and of course Bob factored into it. But how did you kind of decide, hey, we're going to go back open?
Bob called me it's been 5 years since we purchased him. Bob called me on the way to the Jubilee Regional Horse Show, and we were talking, and he said, I have to go. And I was like, okay. and he's not overly loquacious anyway. Right. And he said, I just saw a horse we have to buy. Oh, okay. And so Whitney and Mark Bodner were leading him into the ring for the in-hand stallion classes. And we looked at him 2 days later, and Whitney and Mark stood him up and then trotted him off, and he just had that look, whatever. And he was just one of those horses that you knew he was going to be incredibly special. You just didn't know exactly what it was going to be because he was still pretty green, but we knew he was going to have a special place, and we've owned him for 5 years, and he's really a blessing to own. Every part of his life is, it's not that there haven't been challenges here and there, just because all things that are worth having are sometimes tough along the way, but we have a great team, and he is a great, honest, kind, athletic horse, handsome as hell, and he's just... couldn't be more blessed to own something like him, and we know how fortunate we are to have that opportunity. And since that doesn't come along very often in life, things kind of fell our way in the amateur class, and we thought we had the opportunity to go in there and at least get a piece of it. And since he's embarking on his breeding career, his first 2 full crops are on the ground, we thought it would be a good promotional thing for him to go get a piece of that. And he's been working so well, we thought, let's go for it and see what happens. And it turned out the way we wanted it to.
Well, you mentioned the handsome part. I mean, the 50-50 isn't going to ever hurt that horse. See, you talked about Bob seeing that horse, was he a yearling or a 2-year-old? He was a 2-year-old that year at Jubilee, and calling you. Do you think that Bob saw it and was like, yep, that horse is going to one day win the Open Park Harness Stake?
I've said it, but I need to say it again. Bob does not get enough credit for virtually anything, but he saw that horse and knew how special he was, and he made him what he is, and we can't thank him enough. And he would do literally anything, whether he was sick, dying, or throw himself in front of something. He'd do anything for that horse, and he knew how special he was. And we've worked and worked and worked as a team, and achieved our ultimate goal. It's pretty darn satisfying.
Well, the first call you made after we were all, jumping you back there and giving you hugs and congratulations, like, wait, what do I have to do?
Had to go call my wonderful wife, Mackenzie, a little weary.
Well, she had a representative here, though. Flew in special to see you.
Yeah, my sister-in-law, Samantha Little, was able to come and be part of it tonight, so that was pretty neat. But I need to thank my wife for putting up with this obsession. She's a horse trainer herself, and so she knows the grind, and I am not a horse trainer. I'm an amateur, but I can appreciate it from both sides. And she's tolerated the endless conversations and the endless strategizing and the waking up in the middle of the night watching, having me watch YouTube videos and our RH's Richfield Archive and making spreadsheets and strategizing like a lunatic. And she just tells me she loves me and
loves you anyway.
And loves me anyway, and I just couldn't be more blessed to have a life partner like Mackenzie.
One more thing. This morning, we had the first dressed up baby show, won the yearling in hand, the Colts, and we call him Tux, Tomarai Regal, Royal Attire. But now you can say he is by an Open Park Harness World Champion and out of an Open Park Harness World Champion. That's not terrible.
I would like to go back in the history of the breed, which I appreciate. I'm a history buff, and we've only been in the Morgan world for about 6 years now.
Registry robot, I call you.
Yeah. I have an obsessive compulsive personality when it comes to certain things, and so I love this. I love the Morgan breed, and I love the Morgan people, and I love the Morgan horse. And so learning about bloodlines and having his breeding career be a part of what we're trying to do is pretty fantastic. And I can't thank Tom and Terry Briscoe of Tamari Morgans for taking the chance with Symphony. Tamari Symphony, who was the first mare to win the Open Park Harness in 30 years since Van Loo Jolie, who Bob headed for Judy Whitney, ironically enough. And for her to take that mare and breed to an unproven stud and get what we got, which was the world champion yearling Futurity colt, is pretty darn special considering that was the first baby of his to ever hit the show ring. So both of theirs. So I don't know in the history of the breed. I'm sure I have missed it somewhere. But if the world champion Park Harness horses ever have been both sides of the pedigree, yeah, the little guy has a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive parents.
Yeah, at Thanksgiving, he's going to have to really pony up when it comes to, to proving up for himself. Well, Glenn, hey, congratulations. Love you, man.
Thank you, my friend.
Good job.
You too.